Mario of Time is a Mario 64 ROM hack that I initially glanced over. I kinda assumed that it was a ROM hack that put Mario in Ocarina of Time, and I figured that it wouldn't be that interesting. I mean, at this point I've already played one of those, and I seriously doubt it could top that. But it turns out I was wrong. This is actually a ROM hack that puts Mario in the world of another ROM hack, Zelda Master of Time. Now if that name sounds familiar, I actually discussed that hack last Christmas. I got maybe a third of the way through it, and it was always my intention to go back and finish it, because what I played, I thought was excellent. Probably one of the best Ocarina of Time hacks I've ever seen, though the competition is admittedly not particularly large. I did hear that the ending was a little disappointing, but the world building and the writing and storytelling and the environments were spectacular to me. Not to mention the music, which I still randomly remember and start listening to out of nowhere. This hack truly does feel like a messed up alternative Zelda adventure, and perhaps one day I'll circle back to it and do it justice. But for now, we're gonna talk about the Mario ROM hack. This is a ROM hack of a ROM hack. How much deeper can the rabbit hole go? Well, we got 3 more days after this, so stay tuned. This is a ROM hack made by the one and only Don Camillo that takes the world of Master of Time, made by Don Camillo, and ports it into Mario 64. And after playing it for a few hours, I realized that it was remarkably similar to another ROM hack that I had played a while back called Super Mario Fantasy 64, which was also made by Don Camillo. This hack is very similar in terms of pacing and design to that one, for better and for worse. And the reason I say better and worse is because even though I like this hack quite a bit, it also took a lot of things from Super Mario Fantasy that made me want to drink molten aluminum and die, like razor precise jumps or super specific maneuvers or moving platforms with very precise yet barely congruent patterns you gotta learn, or an overabundance of insta-kill quicksand, or just the sheer size of the levels, which are so big that you'll probably get lost or have to spend so much more time just physically moving to another location after triangulating the pathway to even get there in the first place. You know, the kind of stuff that makes Mario 64 not necessarily work as well as it should. Don't get me wrong, this game is still fire and I had a lot of fun playing it, and just the idea of importing a world from one game to another will always be a cool thing to me. But when you do that, it also tends to accentuate the differences between the two worlds you're trying to join. Mario 64's gameplay loop doesn't mesh as well with the level design of something like Zelda, because Mario is a brisk, snappy game with a lot of immediate gratification that doesn't dwell too much on detailed worlds or universes like Zelda does. Zelda, by comparison, is a much more slower paced and calm experience, asking that the player explore through its world slowly and carefully, to really soak in all the details, and this is why it doesn't work quite as well for a game like Super Mario 64. However, the design of Mario Fantasy 64 actually does fit the concept for this ROM hack very well. One of the things I loved about Mario Fantasy and this game is that there's no real hub world. I mean, there kind of is, but it doesn't behave that way because the transition between every single level is seamless and immediate. There's a quick loading screen and you're just there. There's no going through a painting and selecting a mission. It cuts off a lot of the fat. Some levels will also have a bunch of sub areas like the inside of houses with these fuck off platforming challenges that made me want to do some real platforming off of a skyscraper and onto the pavement 500 meters below in actual real life. The only downside to this is that if you're pursuing 100 coins or red coins and you accidentally leave, you're doing all of that crap all over again. But if you can just remember which areas are doorways to other levels, which isn't super hard to tell after a while, you can usually avoid this kind of trouble. And speaking of red coins and yellow coins, this is also one of those great hacks where you don't get kicked out of the level after getting a star, which means that you can pursue whatever star that you want to, and if you get distracted by another one, you can go get that one instead and pursue the other one after. As I alluded to before, the game can be a little bit frustrating, although it's rarely reliant on obscure metagame stuff, leaning much more heavily into things that most people would already know how to do, and just doing them in a very specific, correct way, which is not always easy to pull off. For me, some of the most frustrating moments were basically any time I had to use the lava jump mechanic. I know I complain about this a lot, but it's still really frustrating to me. Big picture, the difficulty in this hack is fair on average, with some outliers popping up here and there. But as with the original Zelda hack, I feel like the atmosphere is probably the bigger and more important thing. This game really recaptures that weird, desolate atmosphere of Master of Time quite well, maintaining the darker and more subdued color palettes along with the more unsettling and sometimes downright terrifying locale, such as this fucking slaughterhouse where there's all this blood and decaying meat everywhere like some kind of Resident Evil shit or something. They even got a bunch of Bowsers kept behind cages. Yeah, that's right, we're eating Bowser tonight. That's fucking metal. The massive levels, albeit a little bit frustrating to navigate and explore at times, are visually very impressive to look at. There are a number of little details that have been added or tweaked, such as how the Goombas are all moblins now, or the piranha plants are all black and red, or the new designs for the coins, or how the bombs are all grenades. That's a really funny thing. The game also has its share of humor to keep things lighthearted and funny, by which I mean whenever you beat a boss he says, "Fuck, you win." Yeah, that's correct. I do win. That's what I do. Then we have the music, which as usual is quite good. I must confess that much like the original Master of Time, I did not reach the end of this hack, largely due to time constraints, but I got as far as 75 stars, and I can say with confidence that this is a good ROM hack and I would recommend it. As long as you're up for a challenge and have patience, you're gonna have fun with this one. My only recommendation is that you go play the original Master of Time beforehand. That way you'll be able to appreciate what this hack is a lot more, and it's also really damn good. It is not absolutely necessary that you play that one first, but I think you will get the ideal experience that way. However you choose to approach it, I do still recommend you approach it in any case. But that's gonna be it for today's video. Can you guess what tomorrow is? I won't give it away for you as usual, but it's very super and new. Merry Christmas, cousins.